Okay, we are wrapping up our HoneyBook Smart File series with my favorite Smart File ever, which is actually a custom Smart File to create a HoneyBook brochure. Hey guys, Christy here from The Silver Life, and welcome back to our channel. If you haven't seen any of the previous videos on Smart Files and you're just diving in, I suggest you go ahead and check them out, especially the intro to HoneyBook Smart Files video. But in this video, we are talking about HoneyBook brochures using Smart Files. What I will say is so many people have opted in the past for Dubsado over HoneyBook because of Dubsado's customization. But kiss that goodbye, because HoneyBook has totally up-leveled with the use of Smart Files. So if you take a look at our sample of a HoneyBook Smart File brochure, you'll see that it actually almost looks like a mini website. But the amazing thing is your potential client gets nurtured through this, has all the information at their fingertips, and you can dive deeper into giving this information once they actually inquire. So you've captured that lead, and now you've given them the information they want, and they can decide, do they want to book a call? Do they want to move forward right away? So I'm going to show you some awesome tips on HoneyBook brochures using Smart Files, and also just the different elements and tips and tricks to get started. So let's dive in. And last but certainly not least, let's go through HoneyBook Smart File brochures. So this is where in the Template Center, you can create a brochure from scratch by just clicking on Create New Custom Smart File, or you could do a services brochure. Really depends on what you want in this brochure. But if you are starting from scratch and making this your canvas, you can create a custom Smart File and then just go to town. Or you can even use also the template gallery as well and check out what other people are doing within there in their Smart Files and brochures. Okay, so let's dive in. I'm gonna go through how to make these brochures, different design elements that could be super helpful when you are designing these brochures. But first, before I dive in, I want to talk about multi-page brochures versus one-page. There are absolutely pros and cons to both. Multi-page brochures can seem a bit less overwhelming because it's sectioned into different pages, especially if you're going to have a longer brochure like the one I'll show you. While one-page brochures could be everything is in one place, nobody has to click anywhere to know what they want, they just scroll and select an option. So really my advice to you is, how is your ideal client? Do they typically make decisions fast? Do they typically need to read through things and decide? Totally up to you, but I'll show you the difference with both. Okay, so the multi-page brochure. Here's just a layout that I really love following. It depends on your business model, of course, what you're selling. But in this brochure, you can see I have just an intro. Okay, here's what you're looking at. Here's the offer. In this brochure, this is what you're going to learn. I also have some fun mock-ups that I created, our logo right at the top. So you're getting this person introduced to your brand. Then my HoneyBook Pro badge, because that's my credential. If you have any certifications or anything like that, would totally recommend putting them in a service brochure so people know your qualifications. Then, super, super cool thing about these new Smart File brochures, you can actually embed videos. So if you click on this and I click, you can see I could do YouTube, Vimeo, put this link in here, decide if you want them to control the video, autoplay, loop forever, where do I want it on the page. But super, super cool that you're able to put that touch point in there, whether you're a videographer and you're showing snippets of your work, or you're just giving it a more personal touch, right? I feel like video content these days is taking over, and people would love to have something on in the background or watch something rather than read. We're all a little bit lazy, aren't we? So that's a really cool portion. Okay, so intro, have a video. Hey, this is me. This is about this product. what's included. Element 1, 2, 3 put screenshots, or you could put stock photos or brand photos or nothing. And then some testimonials as well. Okay, so that's just like intro page. Here's what you're getting into with this offer service. Then we have the process. So here is 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And you can kind of make it a little visual. So especially with our photographers that we work with, we love having this to showcase their photography. Obviously, we use brochures to really visually showcase their photography everywhere throughout the brochure. But on this page too, we'll say, here, let's pick your session date. Let me send over this questionnaire. What's the process of working together? They know exactly what to expect. And through this process, you're totally elevating your client experience and making them be like, wow, this person is organized. It's going to be so easy to work with them. So you are impressing them out the gate, especially if you upload this into an automation and they're getting it automatically. Super impressive. Then we can move on to pricing, where we're able to add a service block. And now I just wanted to walk you through this and then the one pager, and then we'll actually go into the elements of creating these things. So pricing, right? You can have the offers and everything. And then next steps. So you can link your call scheduler, you can have a questionnaire, etc. Okay, so that is the multi-page brochure. Let's see how I decked this out in a one-pager. So I'm going to click preview, and I'm actually going to slide through this. Clicking that preview button on HoneyBook Smart Files, you're then able to see what it looks like on your client's end. Okay, so same flow here, but instead I'm just making it on one page. So it doesn't seem too overwhelming. Everything is in one place. Scroll through it and the people know exactly what they need. Something else that could be cool here too could also be a lot depending on what you're showcasing. You could have one page for each service you offer. So someone says, hey, how can I work with you? And here are all the different options. Literally, HoneyBook Smart Files are like a mini personalized website. I've said that a bunch, but I really believe it. Like with this, you literally, if you don't have a website yet, these are so easy to customize and your client gets all the information that they need. So now that I showed you just those couple examples, what we can add to brochures, let's actually talk about the different elements and create them. Okay, so here is a header block. What I did here was created a text block. I just did text only, and then I chose a background image. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and pick this nice image that I usually use. And then I'm going to make this background color the white. You can also do other background colors for fun. So let's actually do this one blue. Why not? And then I went over this. Okay, so this actually was in text. This was our logo. But you could, if you're doing a header, do our process, right? And then highlight over the text. You can see all the things you can edit with this text. So you can do huge. Let's put this in the middle. Do you want to italicize it, underline it, do anything like that? What do you want the text to be? Now, if you haven't seen in the other videos, you can actually upload your branding fonts into here, which is the bomb to really customize this to your brand. You can upload different background colors, branding colors, things like that. That's the word I was looking for. And this actually, what you want to do as you're getting into Smart Files is you want to actually go into your settings. Let me bring you there. Okay, so in your company settings, in company brand, this is where you can upload the company Smart File theme. So if you have a new template that you're using, you can just click on this button here and say apply company theme, and then it will automatically add that to whatever smart file you're in. So that is like gold. So I would highly recommend put your branding colors in there, upload your brand fonts, make these smart files your own. Okay, so that was a header, right? Now let's copy and paste. Command C is to copy, Command V is to paste, or you can click copy block and then you can paste block. And then let me show you how I added that logo. So say you wanted to do the logo, you can click plus image, click the logo, and then you can make this as big or small as you want it. Okay, so that's the header, right? Now you can also say, let's move this to the bottom and bring it all the way down to the bottom, it's there, or move it back up to the top, or move it around here. Okay, so I'm gonna delete that, but I just wanna show you how you can kind of mess around with making headers. Then this block, this is a 2-column block. We have some images over here and some text over here. So let's talk about that. I'm going to add an image block. I'm going to split it into 2, and then I'm going to go ahead and delete this one. So now I can upload this image, right? So I'm just gonna upload a new one. And then let's talk about content width and padding, column spacing, all that stuff. So again, also you can have the option, maybe you want 3 photos, or you know what, I just want 1. That's where you can add these multiple columns. It's super, the builder in here is chef's kiss. Okay, so content width. This is how wide these 2 or 3 or 1 things can get, right? So here we're in medium. If I did small, you'll see now this is on top. Then we have medium, then we have large, and then we have 100%. So mess around with this. How big do you want it to be? But you can also stretch these, right? So say I wanted it to be large, or 100%, but it was like so big, right? You don't want it to be that big, but instead this. So you can drag this to be however you want. Pro tip here, so you see how this has very little space above and below? This, sometimes when I'm editing on Canva, and that's where I'm getting these mock-ups from, by the way, Canva that I'm creating, it'll be a square, right? And I'll be like, it doesn't totally look right. And so I'll go ahead and I'll crop it to 4:3 or 16:9, whatever. And then it'll kind of take that white space away. So if you're feeling like the sizing isn't totally proper, go ahead and play around with that cropping. Okay, so then we have, that's content width, column spacing. Let's go ahead and bring this back to medium. Then the column spacing is how far apart these columns are going to get. Your images are going to get smaller, but you're able to add more spacing in between. Then padding, top and bottom. This is the top and bottom, how far this is going, right? So small, medium, large, custom. This is 60, say I want it to be 150 because I want it to have way more room. That's what the padding is. Okay. So this, you can see the settings I did on this one were content width large, column spacing 20, padding top and bottom medium. So let's do large, 20, medium. Okay. So, and you'll see why does this have like, does this look smaller is because I cropped this one to have less white space. So if I go ahead and crop and then custom crop this, you'll see what happens is it's going to be like the same size now. I'm going to stretch that. There you go. That's it. So I added that, and then I added my HoneyBook Pros badge down here, and then made this a little bit smaller. So looking good. And then added a text block, right? So here you're able to actually put text in the same box that's formatted differently. So if I make this one large and then bold it, then I can add other text here and bullets. And you'll see that this is actually, you can make this normal and unbold it, and you can just mess around with the text in that box and make it different fonts even. So if I went like this and I wanted this one to be that font, you don't actually have to have text boxes, which is separate text boxes to edit the text, which is really nice. Okay, and then you'll see how this kind of floats up at the top now. I'm like, oh, that looks kind of funny. So what did I do here? I added a divider. So this is just adding some space into here, and I adjusted the height to match it how I wanted to. And then you can either show a line in the divider as well, and then what is the height? Is it hand-drawn, dash? Where does that line happen? What's the line width, thickness? So you can do a lot here. Really cool stuff, right? Okay, so obviously I didn't have that. You could also put a background color in the divider as well. So I recommend just like going in and clicking on all these things, right? Going into text, image, questions, video, divider, and you can see all of the different things in here, or continue to go through this video as I walk through them. But as you start using this builder, you're gonna see how simple it is, how awesome, and just they made it so user-friendly. Okay, so we recreated that box somewhat, right? I didn't do the exact text in there. Then we created a video block. So here I wanted to break it up a little bit and create a video. So what I did was I added text first, and I'm not gonna, okay, actually, yeah, I changed my mind. Let's change this to white. So now when I click off, you'll see it looks like it's not there. I changed the background color to blue to break it up, changed the font size, and then added this video in here. Okay, so note in here as well. Let me go ahead and grab this video link. Let me show you what happens. So here, sometimes if you have text, right? Say I had all this text and I wanted it to stay like this formatting, but I wanted the video to be bigger. Well, if you see if I do content with large, that's going to expand this text. Now what I could do is I could just enter and bring that text down, or what you can do is you can add another block and make it a video block. And then that's where you can format this video, add the background color, and make this be whatever size that you want while it's not affecting the text. Okay, so that's a tip for you. If you're feeling like there are elements on a page that you're like, I want this all to look like one section, but I feel like I need to mess around with content widths, then you can always make two separate blocks, and then when I click preview, you're gonna see that it looks like it's one. So pro tip for you there. And then you can always adjust the spacing too, right? And don't freak out, it looks like there's lines here, but it's just showing you the separation between the different sections. But you saw when I pressed preview, those went away. So here you can always say, okay, padding I want to be 0, so it looks like it molds into here. And then I'm just gonna add a divider on top to make it a little bit bigger, right? So now if I preview, you'll see it looks like that. Okay, so that is the video block, just some more tips there. And then what we did, what's included. So we just did another little header, background color, some text in here. Then we did another text. We wanted this one to have a white background, so it's a different block. And then a 3-column width content block. So something cool here, if I do add and then layouts, take a look at all of the different layouts that you can do on here. They make it super, super fun and easy to just upload things and start editing, adding titles and images and stuff like that. So you can always click on here, add an image, stuff like that. You can also add GIFs, which is super fun. And then you'll see here too, I can actually change the corner radius. So making these things a square, a full circle, or rounded edges. So awesome without actually having to edit the photo in Canva. And then what's the opacity of this? Where is it on the page? and then cropping this as well. Okay, so that's that block. And then testimonial, we just added, you can add emojis to brochures, which is awesome. Pro tip, if you don't know how to access the emoji keyboard, Command Control Space brings up an emoji keyboard. So here we just added emojis, we added text here, and then the actual testimonial. So get creative with it, have fun. Then let's go to the next pages. So the process, here we did a header. Then for these, we did a 2-column text. Here's a divider and a text box and an image. And then we kind of layered it, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So what I would recommend is do one of each, right? And what you could do is after I did this one, I actually copy and pasted it. And then you can actually drag these into the next box. So I did that. Then I dragged the dividers, dragged the text box. The dividers went on the bottom. There we go. And then I changed the coloring to gray. Make sure that's actually it. It wasn't it. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, so then once I had these, then I would just copy and paste and then drag them below the next one, right? So here you can see it has this like zigzag effect, kind of drawing the eye, giving a little more dimension to it. Okay, so that is a tip there. Then we have pricing. Okay, so let's talk about service selection boxes. This is where I can add a block, click services, and then I'm going to start from blank. Okay, so here's where you can add an image to this. So let's just put our logo in here. Branding, photographers will put photos in there. For our offers, like we offer HoneyBook and ClickUp setup, we'll put that logo in there. So let's talk about the ways you can customize this. So you can either type a service in here and bring it up from your packages in your template center. So if I went into here and I went into tools, my templates, and then packages, then in here you can add standard packages to easily pull up in here, right? So in here, let's see, I have a photography package. I could click into here and click photography package, and that's going to show up in here. I could click that and it's going to upload. Awesome. Or you can totally make a package from scratch in this brochure. So if you wanted to, you can just type that in here. You can also see I can change the font, how this looks in here. So say I wanted to change the font, and that will just do the title, so you could have the description be different. So that's there. I can select the size of it, the coloring, bold or not, where do I want this to be? And then you can do service description. So what does this include? You can add bullets, change the font, everything like that. Then you can also add sub items as well. So you can add sub services in here, descriptions, and adding the quantity to that, or go ahead and delete this. So then when I click on this, this is where I can customize how this actually looks. So you're gonna put the price in on the right side over here, and you can put the quantity. So either one item, hour, day, week, month, none. And you can say the client can choose the quantity on this too. So if it's something where they're choosing how many extra photos they want or anything like that, you can see when I preview this page, they're able to select this and then add the quantity, and you'll see that adding in the cart up at the top. Now what this is doing is if you put a service selection in your brochure, when they select it, you can actually not only see what they're interested in, but in these settings, this is super sweet part, you can actually say, once the file is submitted, create and draft a file from, and then choose a proposal. So it literally drafts it for you, puts in their service selection, uploads any information into the smart fields. So if you missed the contract section, that's where I go through the contract video. I go through adding all of those smart fields to contracts. And so that's a really, really cool thing to utilize. Definitely highly recommend it. Okay, then you can go to design. So you can add a background color to this block if you wanted. You can say, what's the background color opacity? So let me actually click that again and show you how that looks. Okay, so you can make it like a little bit dimmer. Item corner radius, so making it square or a little bit corner. Shadows, do you want to add shadows behind it? Do you want the image to show? Yes or no? Let me take off this blue because it's killing my eyes. Description, yes or no. Quantity, yes or no. Unit price, and then service price. So that is that. You can also choose, okay, so I toggled that on, and then you can say selection is required, yes or no, meaning they can't advance to the next page until they choose something. So depending on what's on the next page, you can decide to toggle this on or off. And you can choose, okay, a client can select multiple items, they can select one item, or it's view only, and they don't have a select button. So if you offer packages that are set and you only want them to be able to select one thing, that's when it would be select one. Select multiple would be awesome if you had add-ons, or you could say select any that you may be interested in. The client selection summary, this is where you can add, this is the button next, and do you want the icon in the top to be a list or a cart? Do you want to show the summary total? So if I selected list, and I previewed, then you can see when I click select, then they're able to click on that and see what their selection summary is, which is pretty cool. Okay, so then I have this one. I can then add more items, row of service items, and then keep adding from there on. And you can have two, if you're adding something in the same block, then everything you do to one will be added to the other, right? But if you wanted to add a whole new block, so if I go like this and I said I don't want an image, right? That's going to then do it to everything within this block. But if I have a whole other block of service items, just like I said with like the formatting of the video, well then, let me just add this so then it stops prompting me. Then you can add a whole other block and decide how you want this one to be, right? So when I took the images off of this one, it didn't affect this because it was a totally separate block. Another thing here, you can have this in rows, top to bottom. You can have it in 2 columns or 3 columns. You can change the background color and column spacing, padding, top and bottom. And then different things here. So duplicate, copy block, etc. Okay, so that's it for service items. Now let's go on to the last thing, next step. So here is where we just added a text block. Here I linked at my Zoom consultation link from the schedulers in the tools scheduling section. I grabbed that link and put it in here. Pro tip here, if you're including a link to schedule in a brochure upon inquiry, I always recommend also putting it in the email because not everyone wants to click into the brochure. Some people just know they want to schedule a call. So you could be losing leads by just putting it in the brochure. Again, totally preference, but that is my professional opinion. So here we just put next steps. We put a text block with book a consult call. We put text, we look forward to meeting you, and then we put a little questionnaire at the bottom. So here we just added those questions. If you missed the questionnaire video, make sure to check that out. I go through every single type of question that you can have here. And that is it for this brochure. The buttons, you can always click on the buttons and change the text. So a couple different options here. Either you can say welcome, next to the process, next pricing, next book a call, and then submit, or gibberish. Or you can just put next, done, submit, whatever. Again, totally preference. You can always adjust the pages by clicking the names here. You can see the page settings. What is the page name? Background color? Is there an image? You can customize the theme here. And let's see what else. Clicking on this. Okay, one other thing here, I just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything before ending this tutorial. You can also click reuse a content block from another template and then bring in other things, right? So if I clicked on happiness survey and I wanted to bring in this header, you can just click that and bring it right into here, which is really awesome. Add new pages. And that is it. Make sure you are always clicking update template as you are going through and editing these things. In the settings, you can change the name, change the thumbnail, require two-factor authentication if you want them to get a code before logging in. On the last page, you can have it go to a URL instead of just clicking submit. It'll still submit the brochure, but it'll also bring them to a URL that you potentially want them to. You can expire the file, and then again, you can have, if they select something from service selection, it can draft a proposal, contract, invoice, anything like that. Okay, so that was a long one, but a good one. Brochures are the bomb. They are so much fun to create and really, really elevate your client experience. And these new smart files have totally changed the game for HoneyBook users. So I hope this video was helpful for you. I think HoneyBook Smart Files are thebomb.com, and I was so pumped when they released them. So I hope this series was helpful for you in learning how to set them up yourself. But I want to let you know, if there are still elements of HoneyBook that you are not totally clear on, and you want to know how to set it up step by step with all the information at your fingertips, go ahead and check out our system school. We have an entire course on HoneyBook with all of the updated resources on Smart Files. We have different plug and play templates in our template vault, and you get our support with any questions you have from the DL team in our System School community. So I will drop a link to System School in the description below. Make sure to check it out. If you have any other questions about System School or HoneyBook in general, make sure to drop them in the comments below. Also, if you are brand new to HoneyBook, you just signed up and you have not signed up for a membership yet, make sure to use our link or code in the description below to get 50% off your first year. It's a pretty sweet deal if you ask me. And with that, thank you so much for watching.